said, no, soft pedal. I said, you have your mandate. I have my mandate. Don't worry, one day we are going to meet. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me thank the Inspector General of Police for taking time from his very busy schedule to receive us this morning. This is the second time in the past 5 months or so that I will visit the IGP. The first time was in June 2015, long before I assumed office as minister. So I'm happy to be back here today as the Minister of Information and Culture, in continuation of my ongoing consultations with key stakeholders in Nigeria. As we have told Nigerians on many occasions, our military has decimated Boko Haram and uprooted them from territories they once controlled. What the terrorists are now engaging are attacks on soft targets, by which I mean highly vulnerable places like markets, motor parks, as well as worship and entertainment centers. Herein lies the important task of the police. The body statutorily given the role of maintaining law and order. The police, leveraging its large network, its huge investigative capacity, and the fact that its personnel reside largely among the people, are now required to step in to protect these vulnerable places. This they can do by working with transport workers, market women, local government councils, police community relations committees, faith-based organizations, community development councils, and other stakeholders. So it's also important for Nigerians as a people to support the war against terrorism and indeed own the war. It is not just a war for the military and other security agencies, but for all of us. May I also use this opportunity of this visit to formally convey to the IG the message from the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria when I met with them last week in Abuja. They asked me to implore the IGP to please provide 24-hour police protection at no extra cost for the premises of the operations. I'm hereby presenting and endorsing their demand. In the first instance, the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria has agreed to partner with the federal government in its National Security Awareness Campaign. This will make them more vulnerable to possible attacks and aggravate the already tough conditions under which they operate. The Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, the Executive Secretary of this organization, will work with the police to supply the addresses of all broadcasting premises to be so protected. Finally, we would also like to formally request the support of the police in the impending campaign against corruption and the reorientation campaign tagged Change Begins With Me, both of which we plan to launch in the days ahead. Details of the launch will be made available soon. Once again, let me thank the Inspector General of Police for sparing the time to receive us. We have no doubt that we will be favorably disposed to our plethora of requests. I thank you all.
It's more than just a courtesy call. It is an opportunity to draw on the broad and very fertile experience of the minister within the national space to enrich policing in Nigeria. In this regard, it is particularly appreciated that the Honorable Minister could deploy the broad network of his ministry to support the leadership of the Nigerian Police Force in advancing the concept of police community partnership and in aid of enlightening the general public down to the grassroots on their civic responsibilities in relation to national security and crime prevention. This synergy is particularly expedient in view of the current national security realities and in acknowledgement of the popular maxim that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance, and that the police is the community and the community is the police. Honorable Minister, sir, the Nigerian police under my leadership has, since my assumption of duty as Inspector General of Police, been driven by 4 core policing strategies. These include rule of law driven policing, technology and intelligence-led policing, citizens-driven policing, and police accountability. In furtherance to this, and with the firm motivation and unprecedented support of Mr. President, the Force leadership has commenced projects aimed at enhancing the technical intelligence capacity of the Force with a view to strengthening our operational competence in the management of highly organized crimes, including terrorism, kidnapping, armed robbery, cybercrime, and other crimes in the national security concern. Very soon, Honorable Minister, the potency of this new anti-crime infrastructure will be felt by criminal elements across the length and breadth of the country. Indeed, the Honorable Minister, the recent establishment and launch of the Nigerian Police Central Information System, which warehouses the automated tint permits, police character clearance, and firearms license process units, is a further testament to the determination of the Force leadership to engage the potential of ICT and best global policing practices towards managing crimes. The launch of the NCIS will migrate the processing of tinted permits, firearms license, and police character certificates from the analog pedestal to digital heights, in which the biometrics of applicants will be captured, stored, and processed, and a database of all applicants and holders maintained for ease of reference. That's good. The Honorable Minister is invited to create time after this event to undertake a tour of the facility and the accountability framework of the Force. In addition, Force policy frameworks targeted at situating policing functions within the rule of law and fundamental human rights, dictates in line with democratic virtues, are also being vigorously pursued. This explains why, of late, the abuses associated with the arbitrary exercise of police power of pretrial detention are being vigorously addressed. It is a manifestation of this that the syndicates responsible for the kidnap of Olufalaye, the multiple bombings in Abuja, the kidnapping syndicate terrorizing Oyo, the over 200 suspects arrested in connection with the 12th December 2015 confrontation between the Shite set and the military in Zaria, were all investigated and charged to court in an unprecedented record time. These are clear statements on the enhanced professional capacity of the Force. Honorable Minister, sir, high premium is also being placed on citizens' partnership and consent. It is in order to drive this process that the hugely successful National Security Summit, which attracted over 600 strategic security stakeholders across the country, was held last year. The outcome of the national engagement is currently being explored to further advance the concept of police-community partnership in all police commands. This has been producing positive results as the lost primacy of the Force is being gradually restored and public confidence in their police is being engendered. In order to sustain this path and make police to remain accountable to the citizens, I have recently established a complaint response unit, a positive and landmark initiative that encourages citizens to monitor their own police and hold them accountable for their actions and inactions. Since its inception about 2 months ago, the unit has received and processed a total of 1,268 complaints from members of the public on its online platform. The real-time social media-based platform is a unique initiative that is supported by the British government through the Justice for All projects, the Clean Foundation, and the NGOs, and has been an efficient mechanism for deterring officers from corrupt practices, as well as for investigating erring officers while communicating feedbacks to the complainants. All these initiatives will remain futile without sensitizing the public. It is in this regard that I encourage the Honorable Minister to support the police leadership in the drive to modernize the police by placing at our disposal all assets of the Ministry of Information and Culture towards advancing this initiative. A classic example, sir, the election that was held in Bayelsa on Saturday. The media was awash with the number of casualties that were recorded. They said some policemen were killed, some military officers were killed, civilians were killed, but the true situation was that only 3 people we have records that died in that instance. And by the time we start creating situation of a Hobbesian state that there's a state of anomy in the system, we keep on heightening the fear in the minds of the people. So this is one area, sir, I want the minister to help us, address the members of the press. On behalf of the Nigerian police family, I warmly welcome you to the Force Headquarters and look forward to your goodwill and partnership in our mutual commitment to attaining the mandate of the Nigerian police. I thank you immensely for the visit and pray for your success as you settle into the arduous responsibility of the Ministry of Information and Culture. Thank you very much, sir. Both at home in the office. We have copies here to donate to the ministry, and I think you should be able to assist us to use your platform to let Nigerians know, because security starts from the person before the police can step inside. So this is a copy for you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, IGP, sir. Another round of out for the group photograph, sir. I am Amina Ling. I represent Newswatch magazine.
I want to believe that.
You see, police preventive measures are usually both overt and covert. In most of the marketplaces, motor parks, we deploy our criminal intelligence branch there. They are not in uniform. Because if you deploy men that are in uniform, you make them also soft targets, for the insurgents. What we are doing is we are fighting an asymmetric warfare where the boundaries are not clear-cut. You don't actually know who the bomber is. So all we try to do sometimes is to carry out preventive measures. And that was what led to us disrupting the people we arrested in Abuja the other time, who were preparing bombs to detonate around the city. So most of our actions are usually preventive. We don't want these things to happen. And for those areas that the Boko Haram has been sufficiently degraded in the northeast, the DIG operations is already in the northeast now, trying to map out areas where we can create safe corridors for our police officers to establish civil authority, to enable the IDPs to return to their various communities. Most of our facilities had already been destroyed. So what we want to do actually is to make sure that there is visibility policing. We do sufficient patrol. We carry out activities that has quick impacts that can easily touch the lives of the people by ensuring that maybe hospitals, the IDPs, all those areas that they are safe for people to move back to their residence. So we're actually doing something. We are not sitting down and allowing those people to occupy space. Thank you. Well, for the firearms licensing, I think the analog system has not helped our country. We should be able to know how many firearms we have in this country. If we don't know the number of firearms, who are the people who are in possession of these firearms? Most of the firearms that we give out licenses for, they are usually those ones who tell us they want to use it for gaming. So if by the time we start licensing them, we have a platform to start licensing these firearms, then we should be able to now distinguish those people who are keeping these firearms illegally and those people who legally, are entitled to have these firearms. And when these firearms are used for, things that are criminal, we should be able to go to our system and punch in the number or put in the fingerprints of the person we have lifted from the crime scene, and we have all the details of the person who have licensed it. The country where modern policing is now technologically driven. It's now knowledge-based. We cannot afford to start doing those things that are manual all over again. It is a time in this country where we should know how many firearms are licensed, where are they licensed, how many do you have in Lagos, how many do you have in Abuja. We should be able to have those ones. Then I think a time will also come where we will be able to say cash for arms. We'll make it, if we want to mop up illegal firearms in the system, we should be able to give some incentives to say, okay, look, if you are keeping these illegal firearms, especially in the Niger Delta and some other areas where there's proliferations of, firearms, we should be able to now set up, we'll work out modalities and say, give us back these firearms, we can pay for them. We can give you some cash so that we continue to mop up firearms. And the Minister of Interior yesterday was at the border of in Sokoto, trying to talk to the immigration officers to see how our porous borders can be reinforced. Because now we discover that we have so many entry points into Nigeria and they are not properly manned, and that is where most of these illegal firearms come in. So I think it is time it's going to be a gradual process, but I think we will be able to get there.
I'm sorry. I was doing my youth service in Ogun State. The then Commissioner of Police, nice gentleman, used to play tennis with us and we were very friendly. Many people applied for firearm license. And because we used to play tennis with the then Commissioner of Police, they would come through us and would submit the application and we would grant the application. When it was time for us to go back to Lagos, myself and Dr. Gulaja, we also applied for firearm license. And to our dismay, it was not approved. And we got upset with the Commissioner of Police. Said, look, this is a doctor. This is a university graduate. How can you say that you are not qualified for firearm license? He said, because you are not married. It's a serious matter. And we were very upset. And we said, what has marriage got to do with firearm license?
Yes, sir.
The old man said, it's only when you are married and you know what is called provocation. If I give you young boys a firearm license now, you get upset with your girlfriends and you shoot them. When honestly, we don't try to do want to give us firearm license. After I got married, I realized it's the wisdom of the police commissioner. Thank you very much.
Immediately we finish now, we finish.
And officers that have distinguished themselves in one way or the other. We also earned award of achievement won by the Nigerian Police Force in peacekeeping, sports, etc. These are the portraits to indigenous Inspector General of Police. As you can see, the portrait of our current IGP is not here, since he's still on court. Police College in Kenya main case. This is how the Eddie Tombul ASP, a British police state of Pennsylvania recruits, concept on Arase. Lagos, that was in 1923 to 1958, before they demolished the police. It was built at 1958 in the house. Open a seller of beer. 6. This is CSP C. Ugowe, women officers in a meeting at First State Quarters in Lagos in 1976. These kits, in those days, the one that police used in those days, this is our recap, the police water bottle, the belt, and the helmet.
How about the baton?
The baton is downstairs.
Yes. They didn't carry guns, and everybody was afraid of that baton, and there was a whistle also. They used to carry with them.
These our police printers at work in the printing press in Ikeja. It was established in 1965 by the then commandant of Police College Ikeja, who obtained loan from the police reward fund to buy a Jesna 2000 offset printing machine for the printing of police instruction notes. This traffic officer on duty in a busy street in Kano in the 70s. This a young policewoman helping children to cross roads in 1972. This police marine. The police marine.
Don't let them hear that.
1973. This ACPBE Edia retired. She was enlisted as constable on the 1st 10th 1955. She was the first Nigerian woman promoted Assistant Superintendent of Police, ASP. This is Nigerian Police Band outfit in 1950s. This is police drill instructor doing his beats at Police College Kaduna in 1993. Saying to train the recruits. This is woman DIG CB Uboye, retired. She was the first woman commissioner of police, and she was the
you saw the character the other
The security features are there, verified, and our contacts are there.
You know, the current ministers don't even have cars, so they can't be tempted.
Their private cars coming.
Very plenty.
Very good.
So sometimes now, if we see them on the highway and we want to, confirm this, the owner, we can use our smartphone, put it here, it brings up all the data of the person, and they can easily connect with the central information system here, and it's all over the country. So any states where you are, you sit in your sitting room, you go to our website, you just click it, whichever one you want. Character clearance, change permit, fire and license. The details will come out. You just fill in the details, you print it out, and go to the nearest office there. Once you give your number, just take your biometrics, take your photograph. Yes, that's exactly what. Yes, that's exactly.
It's going to help also in policing, in car.
Yes, everything. That's exactly what we're trying to do.
Random checks.
Yes.
To stop a person.
So the last place we just take it to is our complaint response rate. So we allow you to.
So the Minister of Interior will be
So what we are simply doing is, like these two officers, this unit operates 24/7, including public holidays and weekends. So we are giving out two dedicated competency. For instance, they go to a police station and they are having issues with the police regarding detention, they can easily call and it will be resolved. So we deploy immediately. Then we have also used WhatsApp, because we discovered that a lot of youths, they are on social media. From the data we have about this, complaint comes in either email or even on BBM chat. Once the report comes in, report to somebody from across the country.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
And to ensure transparency in dealing with cases, the computer generates a tracking number. So they can use to complete from time to time. Then the duty officer sees every report that is logged in, so he initiates the action that is based on their posting. The OC provost, the OC SID, and also the control room. And so this is because taking this test from the social media. So he initiates the action. Once the report comes in, like now he's taking.
Good morning. Your name and your location, please.
He's taking the report from somebody from across the country.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
And to ensure transparency in dealing with cases, the computer generates a tracking. They can only log in reports, they can't delete any reports. So they can use to complete from time to time. Then the duty officer sees every report. That is towards the end of last year, there was a report received from Twitter from GRA, the police on the same medium. So this is one way the IG is using to close the existing gaps between the police and members of all the crime periodic reports. It's followed by Ogun State, FCT, then some other states treated well. I can always make it call. It also puts the police officers on check to make the report. And so far so good, this has received commendation from members of the public, and we have been receiving different complaints and commendation from members of the public. So that's what
How can we make use of this platform?
You now have the Minister of Information.
You can do two things.
Yes.
We can either get a telecoms company that will sponsor it. See, so it's a win-win situation for everybody. The media house gets whatever money they want to get, it's paid by telecoms company. The other company gets the exposure they want to get, which has via advertisement, you get credibility that you are doing work. It can be worked out. Look into it. It gives a lot of credibility to what you are doing. That it is really, let them be here, and that when this report comes in from here, for instance, rather than him to write it down, it is broadcast live. It is transcribed here, and then let them see how it works.
Do a waterfall. So that people can, come once in a while to maybe drop flowers or something.
About this
A waterfall, so that people can, come once in a while to maybe drop flowers or something.
What else?
Yes, sir.
We are still going to be to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you very much. Bye, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I think nobody else is